Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. I'm Pastor Mark. So here's what the Holy Spirit has been kind of talking to me about lately. It's kind of interesting how it kind of pieces come together. But the verse from, so I was watching, I was shooting through my Facebook the other day, and a friend of mine is a pastor up in Batavia, New York. You can't get there from here. You got to go somewhere else and start first. And I sometimes catch her videos, but this one particular one I felt like I was really supposed to listen to. And she was sharing a little bit about the gist of it is that we can make we can mess up one day. You can have a really bad day, but she was encouraging her son that he said, "Mom, it was a bad day yesterday, et cetera, et cetera." And she says, "But today there are new mercies. God says He has new mercies for us." And so I sat with that. It was one of those things. It's like I've sang the song "Great Is Thy Faithfulness." I don't, for 35 years, and morning by morning, new mercies I see. Know what? Think about it. I have said on this very channel, I believe, that every day in the Christian life we're beginners. We get to start new with a fresh piece of paper to write a new story with God. That He, it's a new day. Today I begin a new life, and we get a new, fresh chance. But for some reason, it just stuck out to me this time. And when the Holy Spirit speaks, maybe, you just kind of listen and say, "Okay, God, what is this about?" The next day I was at kind of a pastor's prayer gathering, and one of the pastors brought up that very verse. And I'm like, "Okay, God, you seem to be talking to me about this." And then a book that I've been reading lately, that there was something as I was reading it, it just kind of caught me unawares. Isn't that a funny phrase? Unawares. And here was a couple quotes from Michael Heiser. If you want to read it, the book's called The Unseen Realm. And he says, "Personal failure, even of the worst kind, did not send the nation," referring to the nation of Israel, "into exile. Choosing other gods did." And then he goes on to say, "Personal failure is not the same as trading Jesus for another God. And God knows that." Still not sure why God's telling me new mercies, other than that's a phrase that I'm sitting with. In fact, that's what we're calling this today. This little Chasing the Wind episode. New mercies. What a joy to realize that maybe the failures of yesterday are not final. I think there's a couple books out there, one by John Maxwell, and he talks about failure is not final if we learn from it. We all have those moments, don't we? And we don't want to keep repeating them because that doesn't work. But I love what Lamentations chapter 3, starting at verse 21. "Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed." Are you not glad that God does not just burn us up every time we mess up? Because, boy, we would be in shape, wouldn't we? "For His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Go around singing that song today if you need to. "Great is thy faithfulness." Just find it, sing it, whatever you do. Listen to it, whatever you need to do. "The Lord is good to those whose hope is in Him, to the one who seeks Him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for man to bear the yoke while he is young." It feeds right into what Michael Heiser, those quotes I gave you. When we mess up, and God knows that we're going to do that once in a while. Okay, it doesn't mean we have to. I don't understand people think, "Well, I'll never be able to quit sinning." Well, then why did Jesus die? And why did He go to the cross? It was to conquer sin and death and hell. We don't have to. With His help, we don't have to sin. But with our own free will getting in the way, sometimes we do. But Jesus knows that. And that is not what sent Israel into exile, is because they made some bad choices. And they made a lot of them, folks. Matter of fact, when I read about the characters in the Old Testament, I have extreme hope that I will make it. If they made it, so will I, hopefully. But it's when we turn away from Jesus that is what got Israel in trouble. That is what sent them into exile. Not because they made a couple mistakes. It is about our relationship with Christ. Stay in that relationship with Christ. Look what he says. He says, because of the Lord's great love, we're not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They're new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion. I'll say to myself, the Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait on him. The Lord is good to those who hope in him. That is about our relationship with God. We sometimes think that the Old Testament is about work salvation, that the law, if they kept the law, then they'd be saved. That's not what the law was for. The law was, any Israelite would know that it's about a relationship with God. It's about believing in God. The law was there as part of the covenant to say, here's the parameters of our relationship. And to follow the law was to show our loyalty, their loyalty, I should say, to Yahweh. For us to do what Jesus commands us, as the old song says, I will do what he commands me, is to show our loyalty to God. We're not saved by works. We're saved to good works. And when we serve Jesus, it shows our loyalty to him. And so today, I hope you gain a little hope that there are new mercies for you today. That is a phrase, that's my benediction for you today. New mercies today. I remind myself of that today. I remind myself of God's compassion for me when, yes, even Pastor Mark messes up, that there are new mercies for me today. Doesn't give me a pass. It says, God says, yeah, we'll work with this. I'm not hindered by this. Keep your hand in mine. So I'm going to leave it right there, wind chasers. Give you something to think about. So think about it. Until next time, keep chasing the wind, because I'm Pastor Mark, and God is still God, and the Holy Spirit is still the Holy Spirit. Jesus is still Jesus, and grace and peace to you. Till next time.